And in this video, I want to cover some of the problems you might run into trying to get the heater in your car to work properly. And first, I want to focus on this unit right here. This is called the auxiliary water pump. And most of these don't work. People don't even realize they don't work. So the first thing you need to do is figure out whether it's working in the system. Then I'm going to explain what happens when it's not working and what are your options to replace or fix it. The first thing you should do is test this for operation. And you're going to need a 12-volt power source. It's going to be a booster, a battery with some leads, or a power probe. And you can unplug it right here. If the plug doesn't want to come apart, it's usually due to corrosion. You can get a thin tool in between the two halves and twist it like this, and that'll get the plug loose. And we're going to take our 12-volt power source. It doesn't matter which contact goes to which, it'll just run backwards, but at least we're going to apply 12 volts here to the plug to see if it runs. And you'll hear it run. You can also put your hand on it and feel vibration. This one is not running. It's totally dead. And most people say, well, I guess it doesn't work, so no big deal. I'll just plug it back in and leave it. And you don't want to do that. You want to get this either replaced or out of the system altogether. Let me show you the two options I've come up with that I can offer to you. I know what some of you are thinking. You might be saying, hey, Kent, but why do I need to worry about this not running? This is an electric pump which has a little impeller which helps to boost water through your heater core inside the vehicle. And when this is not running, that flow will be restricted and you'll have sporadic heat, especially when you're stopped and idling. The heater will go cold and go hot because you don't have a consistent flow through the system. When the engine's idling, it's not producing enough volume to keep the heat up in the cabin. So this little electric pump would keep the coolant flowing up to the heater core even when the engine was running at low speed. These are now 30 plus years old. Many of them will not run. People don't even know they're not running, and a lot of them will leak right through here. They'll leak coolant because the seals have gone bad. Now look what I've done here with this W123. Back when I tested this pump with 12-volt power to this plug, it would not even run. So I took it out of the system because at the time, these were not available brand new. And look what I did. I put an elbow fitting right there and clamped it up. Did not need to cut the hoses, did not need to change anything, just in case I was going to find later on a good pump. And I want to tell you this, if you have one of these old climate control Mercedes-Benzes and with this type of pump and it's not working, replace the pump or get it out of the system. Because if you don't remove the failed pump, it acts as a restriction to coolant flow up to your heater core. So shortly after this, I said there's got to be a solution using a newer style pump in place of this one. Let me show you what we came up with. So this is the old style electric water pump, and here is the newer style. This came up in the late 80s and into the 90s, used on many models. Once again, to move coolant through the heater core system while the engine was at idle. Now if you look closely at these, they're kind of similar, but look at, you've got bigger nipples. Fortunately, this is the same diameter, but you can tell just by looking at these that this was created to produce probably more water flow, more pressure. And I was able to come up with a kit to put this into these older models and adapt it, but it required some wiring changes because you can see this is a plug and this is just two prongs on the end of this one. Able to get this from us with the kit, with the wiring adapters and all the instructions to replace the old style Bosch pump with this newer style. If you don't want to spend the money for a new pump, at least you should bypass it. And this is my bypass kit. It includes an elbow and some extra hose and some clamps. And that will allow you to just take this completely out of the system. At least you'll get constant flow through this location in the cooling system. I should warn you, if you opt to go this less expensive route, you will eliminate the restriction, but you may not get consistent heat into the cabin when the engine's idling. Along with that auxiliary water pump, there's one other thing you want to check in the system that can cause problems with cabin heat, and that's this monovalve here. This is the valve that opens and closes and controls the heat inside the vehicle. Now on the W123, it's right here. It's right out in the open, easy to find. The W126, it's about in the same location, but it's hidden behind the front firewall, which is called the false firewall. And then in the R107, if you happen to have one of those, it's over here, you know, where the battery currently is located in the W123, because the battery's in the trunk on the R107. So I'm going to open this up. First, I want to check operation to just make sure the solenoid is working. I'm going to carefully remove this plug, and I'm going to apply 12 volts to these two pins here. There's an electromagnet located inside this plastic housing, which when activated opens and closes the valve. If I apply 12 volts to these two pins, I should hear a clicking noise, click, 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 indicating that the valve is opening and closing. Let's see what happens. Just that. Click, click. Okay, that sounds healthy. Nice strong click. Good, that means the solenoid's okay. The next step is to open this up by removing these 4 screws, and we're going to inspect the rubber diaphragm on the end of this valve, which more often than not is torn or damaged. You know, first glance it may look okay, but as expected, when you pull this back, look at that. That diaphragm is totally torn. Let's peel it off here. You can see, kind of see what it looks like. You see it's totally torn. That means you've got inconsistent coolant flow through your heater core, and that's kind of what I suspected with this car. I noticed it would heat up and sometimes it wouldn't heat up, and it just kind of, you know. So that's it. Very common problem. Now, how do you fix this? You have a unit in here which is called the monovalve. Keep track of these washers and how they go. We're going to clean that up a little bit before we put it back together. But this is the monovalve right here. And when 12 volt is applied, this moves inside here. Okay, let's see what happens when I apply 12 volts here. It pushes it down. So I know that the monovalve internally is okay. The problem is this seal. Now, if you go on the internet, you'll find new monovalves for in the $35 to $50 range. They're made by a aftermarket company that doesn't have a very good reputation. I won't say the name. But I recommend you don't buy those. There's been so many reports of putting new monovalves from this company into your car and still having problems. If you can determine that your original monovalve internally is working, I'm able to offer you a repair kit for your original monovalve. And this is really a nice kit. You can see it includes both seals, a new screen. Sometimes these screens get kind of rusted and plugged up, plus various hardware. And along with this kit, I'll include some video instructions on how to install this